Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Hi, hello, my name is Loey. I have a very special treat for you guys tonight. I was sitting in my office and just feeling so bored the other night, and not that I don't love doing a lot of viral scary stories and telling you guys my own personal paranormal experiences and reading Reddit stories and stuff like that, not that I don't enjoy it. I was just starting to feel a bit like I'd been there, done that for at least the time being, and I wanted to get out of my office, get out of my space, and do a bit of ghost hunting. That was essentially what led me on a multi-hour long adventure, deep diving through the internet and finding some of the most haunted places in my area. Now, right now I'm in Georgia. I live part-time in LA, part-time in Georgia, but currently I am in Georgia. I'll explain a bit more in the intro I filmed in the car when we were on our way here. But essentially, I realized that not too far away from me was Partridge Inn in Augusta, Georgia. Now, Partridge Inn has quite a bit of history, but to summarize it for you here before we jump into everything else, it is a mansion from the 1800s. Specifically, it was built in 1832 as a private residence that eventually turned into a hotel. Now, I believe that the part of the hotel that I'm on is still at least 100 years old, but there are parts of this hotel that are 200 years old. Like, that's crazy. There's so many ghost stories I can't wait to tell you about this place. There's so much haunted history here. I'm gonna be spending the night here in this historic haunted mansion. I'm also gonna do a spirit box. I'm gonna just do a little bit of investigation and a little bit of exploring and see if we can't find the truth about how haunted this place really is. So here's a little something I filmed when we were on our way to Partridge Inn. You know, some YouTubers have expensive rigs and, like, you know, ring lights attached to their giant cameras, and meanwhile I'm vlogging on a Canon G7X and I have my iPhone as a light. Long story super short, I have been itching to get out of my office, to get out of my space and go ghost hunting. I feel like I have not gone ghost hunting in so freaking long, and as I was just researching haunted places around me, I realized that a lot of them are located in Savannah, Georgia. Now, spoiler alert, that's not where we're going today, but I am going to be planning a trip to Savannah pretty soon here. Tonight, I'm going to be staying at the Partridge Inn in Augusta, Georgia. Now, there's a ton of history behind this place. It is a very old hotel, although it has been recently purchased by, I believe, Hilton, if I'm not mistaken. It may be somebody else. So it's been like revamped and redone. The outside still looks exactly the same, but the inside kind of looks like a standard hotel now, which is sort of disappointing. I love when things look historic and old and, you know, you can see the history there. But regardless, this place comes up on every list of haunted locations that I have seen in Georgia. Every time that I research a haunted place here, this is one of the top places that comes up as one of the most haunted places in my entire state. And it's only like an hour and a half away from me. So I decided that while I can't get out to Savannah, it's like a 3-hour some odd drive from where I live. And when I go, I want it to be like a multi-day trip. I can't do that spur of the moment, but what I can do is go to Partridge Inn tonight, stay overnight, do a spirit box session, and see if we can find anything creepy lingering in this over 100-year-old hotel. Without any further ado, let's get this road trip started, because it's getting late and I don't want to start my spirit box at like 3 a.m. That wouldn't be ideal. So after an hour drive and a whole lot of One Direction, we are finally at the hotel, and it's super late. We parked in the parking garage and I think we're going the roundabout way, but it's so beautiful. It's also so cold. I had to put on a little hoodie. Does anyone but me find it a little bit ironic that in an 1832 mansion, there's a Tesla electric vehicle parking spot? Okay, so literally just walked into the hotel room. Number one, this room was like not super cheap. This room was like $175, which I mean is money. Like it's like a decent chunk of money, but like this is huge. And this is just the bedroom portion. Okay, so I guess we're gonna start out in here. We just have 2 queen beds, a TV, but then also like a lot of wear and tear on the doors, and you know what I mean? Like you can just tell that while it has been renovated, this room has kind of been here for a while. There's just like settling and all that fun stuff. Here's where you come in. Over here, what is that actually? Oh, well, you can't open that. Is that just the AC? That's weird. I've never seen one like that before. It's just behind a locked door. Over here is this creepy giant closet that I hate and I want no part of. Ugh, really weird. Oh, here's a little cutie map of Georgia. And then out here is like a little living room, which is pretty great. And then if we walk over this way, first and foremost, here's a full-length mirror, and here's the bathroom. The bathroom is really freaking pretty. Like, so pretty. I love the lighting in here a whole lot. And here's the other part of the bathroom, and I love the shower. So there's a mini tour. When we first walked in, the lady who was checking us in, I told my friend, I was like, it looks like a house, like it looks like, you know, a mansion, and she was like, that's because it was. And I acted surprised, and I was like, really? Like I didn't know that this place was a mansion at one point in time. Now it's just an even bigger mansion where you can pay to stay. Okay, so I did a little bit of exploring, a little bit of walking around, and it's really cold. Number one, I turned off the heat because it makes the loudest noises in the entire world. This room is so quiet, and it's weird because as modern and updated as it feels, I think that was one of my biggest fears with coming here, was I felt like it had been modernized so much and it had been updated so much that like, oh my god, you scared the crap out of me. I think one of my main concerns when I first got here was that, you know, it had been modernized so much, but just walking in here, those renovations were done a lot longer. And I'm not saying like the place is crappy by any means or like a bad hotel or anything. It's just, it definitely feels like a house and like a mansion rather than a hotel, which was what I was sort of expecting. There's not a lot of stuff online about this place. So anyways, yeah, that being said, I think I've done enough exploring and I'm ready to start figuring out if I really am the only one here. The thing is that the G7X is so good, I feel like they can't tell. Can you shut it back on the light for a second? Thank you. Okay, and then turn it back off. Spooky. And now I'm here ready to tell you guys all about the haunted history of this place, some spooky little ghost stories. But before I do, I quickly want to note that while I was sort of just locking up the room for the night, because it's getting, I mean, admittedly kind of late in the night, and obviously you just want to keep yourself safe when you are in a hotel room, I realized that the manual, like the deadbolt on the door, so you can lock the door, but there's also, you know how you can like latch it closed using like a deadbolt on the top? Ours has been ripped out of the wall, like somebody knocked the door down at some point. So Partridge Inn was originally built back in 1836 and it was used as a private residence. Like I said, it was just a beautiful mansion for a beautiful family until the late 1800s / early 1900s when it was purchased by Morris Partridge, where it was consequently turned into a hotel. People absolutely loved Mr. Partridge simply for his charismatic nature. They loved coming and being in his hotel, and as such, business was just booming. And pretty soon he was able to add an additional 4 stories to the 2 that the hotel already had. The hotel was so prominent, and Augusta is actually Georgia's second oldest city. So back in the 1920s, the Partridge Inn was even selected by Augusta city officials to be the official inn of a gala held in honor of the president at the time, which was Warren G. So it was a pretty big deal, and it was honestly just the star of the city. It was known as the house on the hill, and like I said, it was just a gem of the city. That was until the 1960s, where things kind of took a turn. Unfortunately, just with the economic climate changing at the time, between the 30s and the 50s, things really changed for the hotel, and it was no longer quite as sought after, and guests certainly were not frequenting it quite as much. In the 70s, this building was transitioned into apartment buildings, or apartment units, I guess I should say. Then in the 80s, as the building was just truly falling into decline, a group of activists, city leaders, and people from all over Augusta came together in a joint effort to save the Partridge Inn. By 1988, the Partridge Inn was reopened and pretty much restored to its former glory. It's gone through a lot of renovations since that time frame, but this place has served as a lot of places, I guess. It's just worn a lot of hats. It was someone's mansion, their dream home. It was an inn for a long time. It was apartments for a long time, and then eventually became an inn again. Or should I say hotel now? It's technically owned by Hilton, and you can tell that it's been modernized quite a bit. I feel like on camera you can't quite get a vibe of how old this place really is. And I was saying that earlier, it's not broken down or it's not desolated by any means. It's just definitely seen some love and some wear and tear, and you can really tell that these walls have truly been lived in. With that much history, there's bound to be a few hauntings left behind, and in particular, this place is famous for the ghost of a girl named Emily. Supposedly, and I found no historical backing here, but this is a story from the 1800s, so obviously things weren't documented quite the same as they are now. There was a young girl named Emily who was getting ready for her wedding at the Partridge Inn, and her soon-to-be husband, her soon-to-be groom I should say, wasn't showing up. He was late to the reception, he was late for meeting her, and she was getting very concerned. She was like, am I being stood up? Like, I can only imagine what was going through her head. It wasn't long after she was still getting ready for the wedding that she received the news that her groom-to-be had been shot. He was shot off of his horse by officials who mistook him as a wanted criminal, which is a pretty big deal. And supposedly Emily just went into total shock. It was enough to just send her into a dark and horrible place, and she essentially had a full-blown mental breakdown, just wearing her wedding dress for weeks and weeks and weeks before eventually dying of supposedly a broken heart. It's a very sad story, and again, there's no historical backing that I can find, but I don't doubt the story because so many people have seen a young woman wandering the halls of this place in a wedding dress. They've seen her in rooms, they've seen her in corridors, just wandering around in her wedding dress, almost like she doesn't even know that she's gone. It's a super sad, super scary story, and I can only imagine how freaked out I would be if I saw a young woman wandering the halls of a hotel in a wedding dress. So I will definitely be interested to see if anything happens tonight. Anyways, I wanted to go ahead and do this first initial video, sit down with you guys, talk to you about the history of the house, the ghost story that I have heard. There are other experiences here, but that's the main one. There's nothing else you guys haven't heard, you know, knocking on the walls. It's an old building, so of course things can be explained away. Footsteps where there shouldn't be any. I read one account of a woman complaining of a dog barking on her floor, and then when she reported it to management, they told her there was no dog on the floor, and like literally went through and there was no dog. Stuff like that. So I'll be really interested to see what I capture in tonight's series of videos. With that being said, I'm gonna jump straight into my spirit box session, and that will be in part 2 of this video. So I hope you all enjoyed part 1. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you guys so very much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.